Hi everyone, Namaste. How are you all? I hope all are you good and be safe. So in the last class we have completed some velocity distributions, also some van der Waal equation, kinetic theory, and also some kinetic energy density formulas all be completed. So the remaining whatever the topics present in the states of matter will complete now. So Boyle's temperature, it is denoted with TB. Boyle's temperature. Now what is Boyle's temperature? We already completed ideal gas equation, van der Waal equation and kinetic theory. So in ideal gas equation actually there are some drawbacks are there according to kinetic theory of gas. So because of that drawbacks, real gases are not following ideal gas equation. So real gases will follow ideal gas or van der Waal equation at some specific temperature and at specific pressure. Already conditions are given. At high temperature and very low pressure, real gases obeys ideal gas equation. Same like at a particular temperature, real gases behaves like ideal gas. At what temperature real gas behaves as ideal gas? That temperature is called Boyle's temperature. So the statement of Boyle's temperature, the temperature at which real gas behaves like ideal gas. So that is represented with TB. The formula of TB is equal A by RB. So this is the Boyle's temperature formula. TB is equal A by RB. Here A and B both are van der Waal constant. So R is the universal gas constant. So for a particular given gas, there should be a specific Boyle temperature that depends on nature of the gas what we are taking. So Boyle's temperature formula A by RB. It is the temperature at which real gas behaves like ideal gas equation. Similarly, another definition, inversion temperature. It is represented with Ti. Boyle's temperature represented with Tb. Inversion temperature represented with Ti. So what is inversion temperature is? So we already completed Gram's law of diffusion. If any gas is escaping from a narrow hole, that is called effusion. So after escaping, diffusion will be takes place. Diffusion means intermixing or spreading of the gases. So whenever any gas is transferring from high pressure level to low pressure level, there is a temperature falling will be takes place. Any gas, whatever the gases we are having, mostly all gases, when they are transferring from high pressure level to low pressure level, the temperature will become fall. First example, when you are pressing a perfume bottle in your hand, it will be very cold. Why? Because it is transferring from high pressure level to low pressure level. Why temperature is falling? Because under high pressure there is a very strong force of attraction, but whenever it is coming to low pressure, that attractions has to be break. That means there must be loss of some kinetic energy, so internal energy. So some internal energy will be lost. Due to loss of energy, temperature will be fall. So any gas is transferring from high pressure level to low pressure level, some energy is lost by the molecules. Due to that, temperature will fall. Hence any gas will show cooling effect. So this process actually is called Joule-Thomson effect. So inversion temperature is actually based on this Joule-Thomson effect. So what is Joule-Thomson effect is? It is the falling of temperature when any gas is transferring from high pressure level to low pressure level. So this process is called Joule-Thomson effect. So Joule-Thomson effect coefficient is represented with mu, which is equal change in temperature by change in pressure. For cooling, the mu value will be, so cooling means temperature is fall. When temperature is fall, the change in temperature will be negative. Pressure already changing from high level to low level, so this is also negative, so this will become positive. So the Joule-Thomson coefficient mu will be positive when the gas is taking cooling. Similarly, some gases will also show heating effect. If the gases are showing heating effect, the mu will be, heating means temperature is rising, so change in temperature will be positive. Whereas pressure is changing from high pressure level to low pressure level, so change is negative. So from this it will be negative. So any gas is showing cooling effect, its Joule-Thomson coefficient sign will be positive. Any gas will showing heating effect, its Joule-Thomson coefficient will be negative. So first of all, what is Joule-Thomson means? It is the process of falling of temperature or change of temperature when gas is transferred from high pressure level to low pressure level. Mostly all gases will show cooling effect. Some gases, that is hydrogen and helium mostly, these two gases will show heating effect. Why they show heating effect, I will explain. But mostly all gases will show cooling effect and hydrogen and helium will show heating effect. When cooling means temperature is falling. So when temperature is decreasing, change in temperature will be negative. Pressure again decreasing because high pressure level to low pressure level. This is also negative. The total sign will be positive. But for heating, temperature will be rise. So change in temperature will be positive. As usual, change in pressure will be negative. Total sign will be negative. So the Joule-Thomson coefficient dt by dp, positive for cooling, negative for heating. So when temperature changes, when pressure changes, so what is inversion temperature? Now inversion temperature is based on actually this Joule-Thomson effect. So Joule-Thomson effect says that when gas is transferred from high pressure level to low pressure level, change of temperature will be takes place. Mostly temperature will be fall. What is inversion temperature says that at a particular temperature, gases neither show cooling effect nor show heating effect. That means no temperature falls or no temperature rises. So that particular temperature is called inversion temperature. Inversion temperature statement: the temperature at which gases neither show cooling nor show heating. So thus inversion temperature value will be 2A by RB. So it is the formula of inversion temperature. Again, all these values are constant. A and B are van der Waals constant. A is a pressure constant, B is a volume constant. Already we know. R is a gas constant. So this inversion temperature, at this inversion temperature, gas does not show cooling effect, does not show heating effect. But below inversion temperature, gas will show cooling, and above inversion temperature, gas will show heating effect. So at this inversion temperature, no heating, no cooling. But below this inversion temperature, gases will show cooling effect. Above this inversion temperature, gases will show heating effect. But at that particular temperature, no heating or no cooling. So this is the inversion temperature. So when any gas is transferring from high pressure level to low pressure level, either temperature will fall or temperature will be rise or temperature does not change. At a particular temperature, temperature does not change. That particular temperature is called inversion temperature. Below that inversion temperature, it will show cooling. That means temperature will fall. Above that inversion temperature, temperature will be rise. Heating effect will show. Example, we are taking hydrogen and helium. Hydrogen and helium, these inversion temperatures are very low. Nearly helium temperature will be minus 240 Celsius something. So this is a very low temperature. This is also minus 80 Celsius something. So whenever inversion temperatures are very low, already I told below the inversion temperature cooling will be takes place. But already they are very low temperatures. Hence room temperature is mostly above this temperature. So on this above temperature they will show heating effect. So that's why hydrogen helium always shows heating effect. The reason is their inversion temperature values are very low. If they want to show cooling effect, the temperature we should be maintained below this temperature. But above this temperature they will show heating effect. So that's why hydrogen and helium mostly shows heating effect. Remaining all gases will show cooling effect. So that is the inversion temperature. Boyle's temperature is the statement temperature at which real gases behaves like ideal gas. Inversion temperature statement the temperature at which gases neither show cooling nor show heating effect due to change of pressure. Below the temperature it will be show cooling, above the inversion temperature they will show heating effect. Both hydrogen and helium will show heating effect due to their inversion temperatures are very low. Same like another temperature is there. That is critical temperature represented with Tc. Critical temperature. So what is the critical temperature is when we have to liquefy a gas. So we have to decrease the temperature and we have to increase the pressure. So for liquefaction of any gas, by decreasing temperature, by increasing pressure, we can liquefy the gas. What the critical temperature says that a gas cannot be liquefied above the temperature whatever the gas we are applying. So at a particular temperature, every gas should be contains a particular temperature. Only below that particular temperature we can liquefy gas, but above that temperature we cannot liquefy gas. So at that temperature liquefaction will be start. That temperature will be called critical temperature. The temperature above which we cannot liquefy gas is called critical temperature, represented with Tc. Its formula is 8A by 27 Rb. Again A and B are van der Waals constant. So critical temperature, inversion temperature, Boyle's temperature. So remember these statements. Critical temperature says that every gas will be liquefied below the critical temperature. Above the critical temperature it cannot be liquefied whatever the pressure we are applying. So at that temperature only liquefaction will be start. Tc is equal to 8A by 27 Rb. Similarly inversion temperature, at that temperature gas neither show cooling nor show heating due to change of pressure. Boyle's temperature, the temperature at which real gas behaves like ideal gas. So these are the some important temperatures, and when you are calculating their order, this will be A by Rb, A by Rb, A by Rb. The highest value will be 2. Inversion temperature will be highest. After that Boyle's temperature, and 8 by 27 is the less value, critical temperature. So this is the order of inversion temperature, Boyle's temperature and critical temperature, the values of temperatures. So like critical temperature, there are also critical pressure is there. So represented with Pc. Its formula is A by 27 B square. Similarly, critical volume is also there. represented with Vc, its formula is equal to 3b. Critical temperature Tc, critical pressure Pc, critical volume Vc. So we know the critical temperature definition, the temperature above which gas cannot be liquefied. Similarly, at critical temperature, what is the pressure required to liquefy gas? That is called critical pressure. And at both critical temperature and critical pressure, the volume of gas is called critical volume. So critical temperature Tc, pressure Pc, volume Vc. So this we can write as ideal gas equation. We know ideal gas equation, Pv is equal to RT for 1 mole. So if we are substituting Pc into Vc and Tc we are writing, so the value will become 3/8 into RTc. So critical pressure into critical volume must be equal to 3/8 into R into critical temperature. So this is called equation of state. So critical equation, PCBC is equal to 3/8 RTC. Also PV by RT we are calling as compressibility factor. The compressibility factor Z is equal to PCVC by RTC is equal to 3/8. So this is the critical temperature, critical pressure and critical volume. So formulas are important. So some definitions we'll see, some formulas. One important formula is payload. So what is a payload is? Payload is a lifting capacity of a balloon. Suppose when we are using balloons, mostly the balloons are filled by low molecular masses, because when compared with the density of the air, the balloon gas must be low density, then only it can be lift. So what is the lifting capacity of a balloon is called payload. So payload means lifting capacity of a balloon. So it can be calculated by mass of air displaced minus mass of gas with balloon. So mass of air displaced minus mass of gas with balloon is called payload, or also called lifting capacity. Suppose we are taking, take this as a balloon. So it is a balloon. Now when we are placing in the atmosphere, it is displacing this much amount of air. So the mass of that air minus mass of the gas with balloon, that is called lifting capacity. The balloon mass is less, lifting capacity will be more. The balloon gas is high, lifting capacity will be less. So payload is nothing but it is a lifting capacity of a balloon. The formula is mass of air displaced by the balloon minus mass of the gas present in the balloon along with balloon mass. So that is payload. Similarly, another formula, the pressure of a moist gas must be equal to pressure of dry gas plus aqueous tension. So moist gas pressure must be equal to dry gas pressure plus aqueous tension. So whenever gas is collected over the liquid, and that is called whatever the moist gas pressure, the pressure must be equal to dry gas pressure plus aqueous tension. So another formula also there. Another formula, number of balloons filled by a cylinder at different pressures and volume. So through cylinder, suppose when we are filling the balloons, so with the help of the cylinder gas, how many balloons we can fill, that can be calculated by using this formula. The number of balloons, N is equal to Pc minus Pb. So Pc means pressure of the cylinder minus pressure of the balloon into volume of cylinder divided by pressure of balloon into volume of balloon. So at different volumes and different pressures of the cylinders and balloons, so how many balloons can be filled, that can be determined by using this formula. So all these are the important formulas in the gaseous state. So let's state about gaseous state. So some definitions of liquid state also there. We'll see that also. Liquid state. So only some definitions are there. In liquid state, we first learn vapor pressure. So what is vapor pressure is, suppose see this, we are taking a cylinder. In this, half of the cylinder is placed with water and remaining is empty space. So this is liquid and remaining is the empty space. So after some time, so these surface liquid molecules, and these are the molecules present inside. So if the inside liquid molecules, when we are comparing, this molecule is attracted by this molecule, this molecule, this molecule, this molecule. So the inside molecule is attracted by all surrounding molecules. But when you are observing surface molecule, there is no extra liquid molecules to attract. Only these are attracted by inside molecules. So when compared with inside molecule, the surface molecule has less attractions. So these attractions can be break at any temperature. Due to this breaking, these liquid molecules are converted to vapor. So this surface is completed. Now again these are surface molecules. Again this also will be converted to vapor. So due to surface liquid is converted to vapor, here the vapor molecules will be increases. Again vapor molecules will collide with each other. So due to pressure, again this will be converted to liquid. So at a particular stage, the number of liquid molecules are converted to gas is equal to number of gas molecules converted to liquid. So that particular stage we are calling as equilibrium. So equilibrium is a state where the rate of forward is equal to rate of backward. So number of liquid is converted to gas must be equal to number of gas molecules converted into liquids. That state is called equilibrium. At this equilibrium state, so the pressure shown by this vapor is called vapor pressure. So vapor pressure is the pressure exerted by gas when it is equilibrium with liquid. So that is the definition of vapor pressure. Yes, definition is important. So vapor pressure definition, the pressure exerted by gas when it is equilibrium with liquid is called vapor pressure. Another definition is there, surface tension. Liquids exhibit another important property, that is the surface tension. So what is surface tension? Suppose when we are taking a liquid in a test tube, very small narrow test tube when we are taking, suppose we are placing liquid up to here. As I said, these are the surface liquid molecules and these are inside molecules. Surface molecule has less attractions because there is no attraction on the above. Only this inside molecule has strong attraction. So these inside molecules will pull the surface molecules by itself. So due to pulling, the surface molecules will pull to inside molecule. Due to this, the angle of liquid will be changed like this. This process is called surface tension. What is the surface tension is? It is the force acting on the surface particles. On the surface particle, there must be some force acting due to inside particles. So inside particles will pull with some force on the surface particle. So that pulling force we are calling as surface tension. So the definition is, it is the force acting at a right angle per unit length is called surface tension. So this we are taking as a unit length. per unit length, how much force is acting, that is called surface tension. So surface tension is nothing but pulling force. Now this surface tension is inversely proportional to surface area. Surface tension inversely proportional to surface area. Here see this. This is the angle of the liquid due to pulling of the inside molecule. But same liquid, when you are transferred to a large surface area beaker, here surface molecules are more and inside molecules are less. The pulling force will be less. So due to that, angle will not be observed. So this angle only observed in narrow tubes. So due to surface area is less. So lesser the surface area, more the surface tension. So here surface area is more. So on this more area, the pulling capacity will be less. So surface tension is inversely to surface area. Similarly, surface tension inversely to temperature. So when we are heating the liquid, force of attraction can be break. So due to breaking of the force, so pulling capacity will be lesser. So surface tension is inversely proportional to temperature, also inversely to surface area. So that is the surface tension, the force acting per unit length of the surface liquid. Similarly, another definition is there. The third definition, viscosity. So the third definition is the viscosity. So what actually viscosity is? So it is the forces of attraction or forces of friction between the liquid molecules is called viscosity. Viscosity is nothing but force of attraction in liquid molecules. If attractions are stronger, then it is called highly viscous liquid. If attractions are lesser, then it is called less viscous liquid. Suppose we are taking examples of water and oil. Water is also liquid, oil is also liquid. But when we are pouring the both, the flow capacity of water will be more. The flow capacity of oil will be less. Why? Because in oil, very strong attractive forces are there. So due to strong attractive forces, it is highly viscous and its flow capacity will be lesser. So highly viscous liquids are less flow or less diffusion when compared with low viscous liquids. So viscosity is nothing but it is a force of attraction. Suppose we are taking some liquid layers. So this is one liquid layer, this is another liquid layer, this is another liquid layer. So all these layers are differentiated by a distance of dx, and the velocity of the middle layer will be suppose u, and the velocity of upper layer will be u plus du, and the velocity of lower layer must be u minus du. So why? Because always above layers has more velocity when compared with below layers. So this is less velocity, this is velocity u, this is velocity u plus dv, and all layers are differentiated by distance dx. So the force of attraction between the molecules, the force of attraction or force of friction is directly proportional to area and also directly proportional to velocity gradients. So that will be dv by dx. So force of attraction is directly proportional to area and velocity gradient dv by dx. So force of attraction is directly proportional to area into velocity gradient dv by dx. From this, F is equal, one proportionality constant will come, that is represented with eta into A into dv by dx. Here eta is called viscosity coefficient. It should be force by area into dx by dv. So units of viscosity coefficients, force unit Newton, area will be meter power -2, velocity gradient will be second. This is the viscosity. Viscosity simply explains the flowing capacity of a liquid. If liquid has more viscosity, the flow is less. If it has less viscosity, flow is more. Best example, we know glass. Glass is a supercooled liquid. It is not actually, it is a solid, it is a supercooled liquid. So glass is a highly viscous liquid. So due to high viscosity, its flowing capacity is very, very less. So it will definitely flow, but its flowing capacity is very less. When we are observing in old buildings, the windows of glass windows will be thick at bottom. Why? Because the liquid of the glass will be flow, but it is a highly viscous. It will take number of years to flow. That's why the bottom of the glass will become thick due to flowing of liquid, flowing of glass from high level to low level. So glass is a highly viscous liquid. That is the viscosity. So only three definitions important: vapor pressure, surface tension, viscosity. Vapor pressure is the pressure of a gas when it is equilibrium with liquid. Is called vapor pressure. Surface tension, it is the force acting per unit length. Force per unit length. So units are Newton meter inverse. So force per unit length is called surface tension. The viscosity, it is the force of attraction between the liquid molecules, is called viscosity, force of attraction. Viscosity coefficient eta is equal force by area into velocity gradient dx by dv. This is about liquid state.